The leadership of the Ministry of Education today found itself on the receiving end of the wrath of the National Assembly lawmakers over the implementation of some of its key policies, including the transition to Grade 10. The Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba found himself hard-pressed by the lawmakers to defend himself and the principal secretaries over what the lawmakers said were clueless Cabinet Secretary and Principal Secretaries, questioning him on the transition rates, school capitation and uniform policies, amongst others. This comes as the ministry maintained that it had achieved 96% transition of learners from Grade 9 to Grade 10, as Brenda Wanga tells us in the following report.
What had started as a status update to the MPs on the ongoing transition to Grade 10 quickly descended into a referendum on the performance of the Ministry of Education's leadership. The MPs demanding answers from the ministry on a range of cross-cutting issues, from school uniforms to school feeding, from education financing and teacher allocation.
What are you doing to ensure that the capitation that now will be sent to schools is sent so that those students can learn comfortably? That was the question, Bwana CS. I wasn't talking about the disbursement of funds. I know the funds were already disbursed.
I would want the CS to tell this House, when was the last time the ministry disbursed 22,000 shillings to any school in this country? And when the capitations of this year came to schools, were they to pay the debts for last year or for this term? And how much was to pay the debts for last year and how much is for this term?
So there is a discrepancy between the policy and what we are allocated. And so it is up to this House to provide that balance of 48 billion for us to be able to release the actual amount that is stipulated in the policy. Every year, the ministry requests for these figures, but the allocation is normally not given as at the rate requested, and I showed that table in that position.
CS Ogamba, while admitting to a 48 billion shillings deficit in the funding of basic education, found the going hard when MPs demanded to know the exact cost of educating a child from ECD to university in the country.
As a country, do not know how much it costs to educate a child from Grade 1 all the way to university.
If we don't know how much a kid costs to teach, how do you budget? And number two, then who does the minister expect to do that analysis? Whom does he expect to do that actual thing?
But the most scathing attack on the ministry's leadership came from the leader of majority in the National Assembly, targeted at not just the CS but his PS as well, especially over oversight of the implementation of the ministry's policies.
Because yourself and your PS, you have the most clueless PS in the Ministry of Education. Most clueless. He only sits in Nairobi and has no idea what goes on the ground. Get out of your offices in Nairobi, go to the ground, deal with the problems there.
Attacking the PSA and speaking to Kalari has nothing else than to bring out an issue that there could be the other grounds and reasons beyond the ministry. Why attack on someone? And in any case, the minister himself, who is the supervisor of the ministry, was here.
The ministry says it has achieved 96% transition of Grade 10 learners. Of this, 52% were placed in the STEM pathway, 38% in social sciences, while 10% will undertake the arts and science pathway. The majority of learners were placed in Cluster 4 or day schools, while Cluster 1 schools, formerly national schools, took in only 10% of the Grade 10 learners. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.